Hi, I deserve all the hatred and all the worst things in the world, but I just to let this off my chest. My boyfriend and I met in college. We instantly hit it off and have been dating for more than 6 years now, and have been on a long-distance relationship most of it. We live in different countries and we've been maintaining our communication effectively, although being so far away from each other for so long. This year, I'm planning to move in with him. Already have everything set up and we've been waiting for years for this. This is where I fucked up. I have many guy friends. I often hang out with them one-on-one and always told my boyfriend about it. He never minds because he trusts me. Nothing ever happened also. However, one instance, I got drunk with this one guy who I have always found attractive. I have never, ever intended for anything to happen between us because both of us are committed with our own respective partners. That night, he suddenly confessed that he liked me, and I was shocked and flattered. I told him that I liked him also, and he dared me to a kiss. Well, I acted on my curiosity, and it became physical. And it went on for 3 months. I tried to break it off multiple times, but I was weak and kept taking him back. God damn it. I went away, and he still insisted for us to keep in touch. And we did for a month until I suddenly realized how wrong it was and broke it off completely. Blocked the guy everywhere. Now, as I'm sure you can guess, I'm dealing with the aftermath guilt that I very, very much deserve. The thing is, prior to this affair, I was someone who condoned cheating. I have never cheated on my partner, and I felt disgusted towards the ones who did it. And now I am one of those people that I truly hate. I truly hate and feel disgusted with myself that I cannot put it into words. I feel like a walking trash. I am a walking trash, I know that. For a couple of months, I was struggling with the decision of whether to tell him or not. If I tell him, I will break his heart into a million pieces and kiss goodbye to the future that we have planned together over the years. If not, I am just plain cruel and immoral, and I don't know whether I can cope with the guilt or not. It's already eating me alive, and I think it's already developed into a depression, from what I read about the symptoms. I spend God knows how many hours every day on Reddit searching about other affair stories, not knowing what I hope to find. I have lost a lot of weight. I barely sleep. I barely eat. I barely think about anything else. I barely function. Finally, a couple of days ago, I felt like I couldn't keep him in the dark anymore, and I told him over the phone since we live in different countries. Reddit, I broke that guy. I broke the man I love the most in this world. The one I was supposed to share the rest of my life with. He cried like I've never heard before. I can never forget how badly I broke his heart. He's a social butterfly, but actually the type of person that does not share his personal life with other people aside from me. And until now, he hasn't even told anyone yet. I kept saying sorry, although I know I don't deserve his forgiveness, much less a second chance. I've accepted that eventually we have to move on with other people. I did the unthinkable, and I have no right to ask him to stay with me. What a fucking idiot I am, and what a shit show that I created. Sacrificing the person I love most and our well-planned future together for some fucking cheap thrill. Writing this down also does not make it any better. Please do cheat if you want to ruin your partner and your own life. Long, crazy story, but I want to know if this counts as being cheated on. I dated this guy for 2 years and genuinely thought I was going to marry him. His father was abusive, confirmed emotionally and verbally, but I have a hunch that it was also physical. So because of that, my ex avoided conflict at all costs because he was so used to walking on eggshells with his dad. The only fights we ever had were regarding me catching him in white lies that he told to try and save my feelings, and when we would argue about it, it was always me being upset, naturally, and him owning up to it immediately and begging for forgiveness. In normal relationships that are this long before a breakup, you can obviously always feel some gradual disconnecting/drifting apart. But in my situation, his dad found out that I was encouraging my ex to stand up to his dad. So his dad cussed me out over the phone and made my ex break up with me, also over the phone, while I heard his dad telling him what to say in the background. Fast forward to a month after the breakup, he was home with his parents during that time, so he blocked me and I didn't hear from him for a month. When he came back for school, he profusely apologized, and because of how much I loved him, I unfortunately fell for it. We hooked up for months. He would be telling me how much he loved me, how he was getting better to be with me again one day, and that he wasn't hooking up with anyone else because he loved me so much. So one morning I went over to his apartment and sat on his bed and found the girl's necklace. I held cheated on years ago, story with vengeance. Back in 2014, I am dating the woman I believe is going to be my wife. The only woman I have ever truly loved before or after since. I was 25 at the time. It was roughly a 2-year relationship. I had never fully popped the question. But the relationship was on what looked like an asterisk, VRE asterisk, healthy long-term trajectory. I believed we were in love. Families loved one another, and the relationship was overall basically perfect. No fights at all, great sex, great personality meshing between us. We looked great together, had a great rapport, and her family loved me as the son they never had. Same to her with my family, and it all looked perfect. On Memorial Day, we go out to a party with friends and end up retreating to my place where she sets her alarm and then goes to sleep. But after she goes to sleep, I notice her phone going off consistently. So I pick it up and look. There are texts from this guy, one of those he is just a friend types, with very raunchy explanations for what he is going to do to her this weekend when she sees him, including referencing in the past tense implying a long-standing affair. Needless to say, I wake her up and say time to leave and kick her out on the spot. Fast forward 3 days, I have spent the time lamenting in sorrow and heartbreak. This day in particular, I begin second-guessing myself. Did I act too quickly? What are the odds I was wrong? And I speak to her over the phone and tell her to come to my place after she is done at work. During this time, I confront the guy who she was involved with directly over both Facebook and text. Eventually, after some prodding, he sends me a nude of her he took, as well as telling me the day that I broke up with her they got together. You can imagine the effect this has if you have ever been cheated on. Then it dawned on me. Vengeance that will last and remind her of this behavior for a long time to come. For perspective, she is white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, as is the rest of her family, and to be honest, they were fairly racist. The man she was sleeping with behind my back in their home, no less, was African American. So as to drive the point home, I decided to oust this little love affair. While my ex is driving over to my home to talk to me about our relationship, I call her mother and tell her every detail I have regarding this gentleman and her illicit ongoing affair in their home when they are out of town. When my ex arrives, we have a long conversation where she does this half-crying thing and attempts to pawn off her behavior as a reaction to previous traumas, including using the recent death of a cousin as an excuse, and saying that her hooking up with this guy the day of the breakup was some harmless hangout situation. Of course, I show her the nude he sent me and make it obvious that I know everything that has been occurring as of late. Primarily because her lover boy wouldn't keep his mouth shut once I spoke to him. As the conversation wraps up and she is making her way out the door, I tell her she has a surprise waiting at home. She finally gets the deer in headlights look and says, "What do you mean?" I simply inform her that her parents know everything. She then breaks out into hysterics, including swinging at me. Then I see true and actual upset and tears from her, The previous tears were nothing more than crocodile tears. As she storms out, she says, "I will hate you till the day I die." For the record, I have no idea what happened with her family to this day, nor have I spoken to her since the day of the breakup. I know she was not sound, but I have a feeling it severely damaged their relationship. Years later, I find out they got married and had a kid, all the while she was cheating on him as well, ending in a nasty divorce where she actually ended up going to jail for spousal abuse. This was one of the most defining moments of my young adult life and taught me a lot about myself, as well as the motivations of others. Most people I know have told me that I dodged a bullet on this one. Funny bit to add, 3 years later I am working for a local security firm and have been for some time. And guess who walks through the door in our uniform? My ex. Brand new hire. Most of the people who know about that assumed she was stalking me, though I did not speak to her or interact with her at all, so perhaps that is wrong. If not, universe has a funny sense of humor. Says Theory 4. My wife had been cheating for who knows how long. So, this will be an unloading and then a forget about it type situation. I just need to get it off my chest. It has been a couple of years of a really bad relationship to a wife who has physically, verbally, and mentally abused me. The physical was in the last 2 years. The verbal and emotional have been my entire relationship. 6 years now. Now, I can't say that I was a saint in the situations either, but I can say I have never laid hands on my soon-to-be ex-wife. I have also not sat in the same room insulting her or calling her terrible names. Anyway, on to the story. I had a coworker that I thought I was close with. I showed him a picture of my family, and of course when he saw my wife, it was a look of like, I think I know this person. I instantaneous thought when I showed him the family photo that something really doesn't sit right about this. Fast forward like 6 months, I invite the friend over for dinner and he meets my wife. They are from the same place, and they seem to really hit it off, like really awkwardly hit it off. They like the same music, know the same town really well. Again, I was all very taken back by how weird this was. Few months forward, I opened up a Mac computer with my wife's account connected to the Mac. I saw texts back and forth between my coworker and my wife. She was asking him all sorts of questions, but at the same time it looked really sad. Like, "I don't know who you are, I have never seen you" type of texts. Lies, because they obviously have seen each other. I confront the wife about it, and we get into a huge argument about it all, and she disconnects her phone and takes off to a hotel in this distant common town the coworker and her know about. At this point, she says she needs space, and everything I know is wrong or not true. A couple of months go by again, and I'm trying to put my finger on why in the hell my coworker and wife seem to disappear.